Oh my gosh, that was fast. I didn't mean to do that. Just hold on, folks. Good grief. Didn't mean to do that. Ain't nobody on here anyways. I'm sure I'm getting shadow banned just like everything else. That doesn't fucking matter, does it? I paused the son of a gun. A lot of people can get to see the whole thing. We are, okay. That's good. I wanted to try to get this in, but, undoubtedly, we've got more than we bargained here. That's okay, though. How can we, get better, huh? Let y'all listen to this. I paused it so y'all could see the whole thing. This is live. I will tell you this. They don't care if anybody's on that airplane or not, just like 9/11. It's weird. We're only a month to go. Yeah, another month, and then we'll have 9/11. Thanks for the like, but this is very, very scary, folks. This airplane was stolen in Alaska. And I'm still getting information on my emails right now, so please bear with me. And I'm trying to get this camera right. It went live by itself, folks. I did not mean to go that far into it, but I'm going to let y'all listen to it.
Comes out of the two wings, the two engines. The engines are mounted on the wing, and those are turboprop engines.
Trying to get a better
five-bladed prop.
view here.
And the landing gear drops out of those engines. So when the landing gear comes down, you can see it on the nose, you can see it on the wing. And then when they drop the flaps, it's a little harder to see. And I couldn't obviously see it when the sun angle was so bright tonight. But it just seemed extremely out of place. And then the timing of the jets, and the jets were not landing or taking off. They were going a lot faster. When the jet runs its afterburner, when an
Still trying to fix this.
Eagle runs its afterburner, you notice that. And I even heard tonight reports. I did not hear it myself, but I heard tonight that there were sonic booms, which would make a lot of sense.
Wow.
If the Western Air Defense Sector at McChord Air Force Base, which is part of NORAD, if they heard about this threat and scrambled aircraft either from McChord or Portland,
wow, there it is.
that would be very consistent with the rules of engagement and with the threat of responses that NORAD makes in these situations. What a tremendously unusual event that just happened this evening.
Okay.
Jess, I think I lost you there for a minute. You were, I want to go back to one thing you mentioned, the afterburners and the F-15, which of course are unmistakable. But were you saying they were kicked in afterburner or they were not?
That is the fighter jet beside it. They shot this thing down, folks. They shot this thing down. They did it in 9/11 in Pittsburgh. This is sad. This is sad, folks. And our security is that bad. And I don't know how to explain it. If they cannot fix our security, I don't want to get back on the airplane. I don't know about y'all, but this is scary. This is real scary. But yes, they're not telling it on Fox, NBC, CBS, CNN. None of them are saying it, guys. This is our absolute another way of keeping everything away from us. This is bad. But I just wanted to let you know that was a fighter jetter right beside it. So
airspeed, the Q400 airspeed is not, I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but it's not going to outrun an F-15.
No, but I am certain that I heard the aircraft accelerating, and I am certain that it was at one point, we saw two F-15s, at least two, there may have been more, and we saw, the group of people that I was with, saw one airplane climb, one F-15 climbing vertical, and it did have, in my opinion, the sound of the afterburners going. So it was trying to climb up in get altitude for some reason. I don't have any information about whether the aircraft was targeted or shot down in any way. I didn't hear anything. I didn't see anything along those lines. But I did see, and a friend of mine has a video of the F-15 and this Q400, Dash 8 Q400 in the same video frame. So from our vantage point, we could see the aircraft over the horizon in a level attitude. We see the F-15 coming in from the southeast. So the F-15s came in from the southeast, and the Dash 8 is going to the north. And we could see it as plain as day. We didn't obviously know what was happening at that time, but we did note it. It was something that we figured was out of place. Again, you don't see these aircraft this low. The flight path into runway 34 to SeaTac is a lot higher over this area. When the aircraft come in to land at SeaTac, it's a lot higher. So that was something that seemed to be very unusual to us tonight.
So you're talking about the two F-15s. One was following. You talked about one that really kicked in and went very vertical, and then the second one was just following the Q400.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. They were approaching almost from the rear and to the side.
Okay.
And these, it's just like, you know, I mean, these Q400s can go 300 knots.
Right.
And obviously, if this one was empty, we don't. And you mentioned yourself, you don't know how much fuel is on board. And if you don't have someone who is a pilot or qualified, you know, airline pilots, they take a lot of hours in the simulator. They get checked out. They get training on how to handle these aircraft. When you have a novice or an unskilled person on board, and they're getting pursued or they're flying in an erratic manner, it seems likely that may have been what happened here. There's also been, I have a lot of contacts, being an aviation attorney and being a pilot, and people are sending me images from FlightAware that seem to show that this aircraft had been turning around the sound, doing banking maneuvers and that sort of thing. It's very easy to stall if the aircraft starts to go slow.
Jeff, I apologize. We're going to have to interrupt you right now because these are our very first images from Sky King over the crash site on Ketron Island. And you say you can see the flames there. Clearly, this is, boy, wow. So we're seeing quite a scene. This plane did erupt into a fireball when it hit Ketron Island, and you can see what's been left behind. We've been talking about the response. Ketron Island is only accessible by boat, tiny island. Obviously, no fire department on the island, so 45 boats from the Coast Guard on the way. Pierce fire boats are headed there right now, but there's clearly a fire burning right in the middle of Ketron Island.
We want to let you know we're going to be bringing in our King viewers here in just a moment, so we want to let people know. All right, to those of you watching on King 5 television right now, we are interrupting to let you know what's been going on for the past. Started right about 8:15. A plane was apparently stolen. We're still trying to confirm that, but it sounds like, well, we do know that. Alaska Airlines confirmed that the plane was stolen from SeaTac Airport. The person who stole that plane flew around for quite some time before that plane finally crashed on Ketron Island, which is directly to the west of Stillicum. It's only accessible by a small ferry or personal watercraft sort of boat, but no real docks there except for the ferry dock. And this, we've been getting lots of video in from different people, from home security cameras, seeing that Q400 Bombardier flying through the plane, or flying through the air there. We've seen some other video, and we just got that Sky King video of Ketron Island on fire. What I can tell you about Ketron, there are about 11 homes on there, and most of those are occupied year-round, but not all of them. We have no idea how much of that is on fire. The more fuel that would have been on that plane, obviously the bigger the flames would have been, but the north end of this island is, I believe, the most populated, and the southern end not as much, and I hope I don't have that back.
Right. No, that's what we've been told from one of our viewers. We've had viewers call us in telling us what they have seen. I think it would be helpful at this point to sort of walk through a timeline of what's happened here, and we can bring in our aviation expert, Glenn Farley, to sort of walk us through when we first started hearing about this at about 8:15 tonight.
Right.
Guys, the jet that I just found this out, okay? And it does not surprise me. The jet that was right beside it shot the airplane down. They're not telling you on the news. I appreciate the advisors as I got, but yeah, that's what I'm finding out. They don't care if you're on the airplane. They don't know how to they don't know how to stop this. The only way you can stop it, folks, is you got to get a background check on some of these people. You got to know what you're doing in security. Whoever runs the airports needs better security. And I wouldn't get on another airplane if they asked me to. If they paid me $1 million.
So there's a lot that we don't know, but this is kind of what we've been able to reconstruct. So about that time, we are shortly afterward, we are hearing that basically somebody has stolen a plane from SeaTac, as hard as that is to believe. There are a lot of questions that are going to be obviously asked here. One was, did whoever took this airplane, who may have been a mechanic for Horizon Airlines, with some knowledge about getting this airplane started and up in the air and going, was there some sort of, was it obvious to air traffic controllers at this point that this individual just go for it? Did he try to file some sort of a flight plan? What was it? But it was apparently recognized pretty readily, so one would suspect that all of a sudden there's an airplane, it rolls onto the runway, who knows, maybe it took off from a taxiway, which is possible, and then just went, and then the alarm started going off. The other key player in all of this is the Western Air Defense Sector, which is on McChord Air Force Base. They are the people who follow, they're an Air Guard unit who basically protect the western half of the United States from the Canadian border, working with the Canadians. There are Canadians in there all the way to the Mexican border, and I can't remember how far east it goes, and they are just on duty all the time, 365, 24/7, looking for anything that looks out of place. So this obviously would have gone to them. The F-15s are typically based, I mean, they could have been in McChord that night, but they are typically based in another unit, Oregon National Guard at Portland International Airport. There's a sizable unit down there at PDX. They have been scrambled in the past. We have been down there when they have been scrambled, and they ask us to leave the room. So that makes sense that they would have been coming out of PDX. Obviously, two of these airplanes, two of the F-15s, the Eagles, on this Q400 as it's flying around. We're trying to get a sense through Flight Aware or elsewhere as to exactly what the flight path was of this airplane, and if that's possible. And then it obviously ends up crashing, potentially forced down, more likely crashing down on Ketron Island near Steilacoom. So was it the intention to try to get it to crash in the water? Do we have a suicide situation on the part of the person? We don't know that. Again, there's a zillion questions, but you can see the live picture on Ketron Island right now. There's obviously a lot of flame. We had a picture up earlier that shows the smoke plume from a considerable distance away. Obviously, there was a lot of fuel on this airplane. Was it full? Was it half empty? There was obviously plenty enough to get a fire going there on Ketron Island.
Right. So at the time when this happened, there was a full ground stop on all flights in and out of SeaTac. A lot of flights had to be diverted to Portland when this was happening. But we are told that SeaTac is now operating at normal operations right now. So clearly, there's reason to believe that this was perhaps a lone person operating this plane, and that there's no sort of larger conspiracy work here. So authorities do seem to have sort of figured that out, or else I don't think they would have resumed normal operations at SeaTac.
I'm getting from Pierce County Sheriff right now that this is from their Twitter account. Male is confirmed, suicidal male, acted alone, 29-year-old Pierce County resident, working on a background check of him now. And I have been, we had the caller Glenn from a few moments ago who was talking about, who had all the background, was the...
Now, how is it a suicide mission when the airplane shoots them down? That makes no freaking sense. I'm sorry, news. You're fake again.
The private pilot, and he was getting a lot of that flight aware. And I've been, if you're wondering why I've been on my phone for quite a this, I've had a lot of people sending me texts and some of this flight aware information, looking at the patterns. But I've got a lot of information. We're just trying to basically figure out what it all means. And you probably know this better than I do. There is a way to download air traffic control audio, and I've had a lot of that text sent to me, and I've been reading it, and it sounds like some of the things you've been talking about might have been part of the problem as far as being low on fuel, or possibly some cabin pressure problems when they were not able to get him to be where they wanted him to be, and so they were trying to. It sounds like they were trying to solve a variety of issues, but we haven't been able to confirm that yet, which is why I'm trying to hold off on it. So we're just trying to give you tidbits as soon as we get them, but the information has been sparse so far. I mean, obviously, we can tell you that the plane went down on Ketron Island. The images are. It's hard to put this in perspective with a night view. But we can tell you that there are, again, 11 homes or so on Ketron Island. Most of those are inhabited year-round, but they don't have, anybody on the island per se, no fire district. They rely on fireboats, or they rely on themselves to be able to put fires out. And I do want to make one quick correction that we had earlier. We know that a couple of the boats, probably Pierce County Sheriff's Office had sent theirs. I think there's a Tacoma boat out of Day Island to Tacoma. They would send theirs down. And the Coast Guard, when we initially got a report of 45 boats, I thought that was odd. Right. It's their 45-foot boat that probably has, I think that one, has fire suppression on it.
Well, you're also going to have a lot of mutual aid here. So you're going to have probably Seattle Fire. You're going to have the U.S. Navy has boats that they could bring into this as well. You have various boats that belong to sheriff's departments. I'm sure King County is going to be down there with their sheriff's helicopter. Other sheriffs, Snohomish, Pierce, all have them, and they're all going to be brought to bear, and they're also going to have a lot of FLIR infrared equipment on board, so they're going to be able to see a lot more than what we can see from our helicopter shot in terms of what's down there. Again, we're looking potentially, we think, at a lone actor here. We know this airplane was taken. That's obviously been confirmed by Alaska Airlines, which of course owns Horizon Air, and it's been confirmed by SeaTac Airport. Natalie Swabia is out at SeaTac Airport trying to get they were expecting some sort of briefing to come there later. So I think the pieces here are going to start falling into place very quickly. But this is unusual, but not unprecedented. There was a case back in the 1980s, an airline that's not around anymore, which is PSA. I don't know if you remember, I believe it was the BAC 146 that was hijacked. That resulted in the death of multiple people. This is all pre-9/11. We're going to have to go back over the details of that. But this is not entirely unprecedented, but has been a very, very, very long time, of course.
Well, you got something right. He said it's pre-9/11. Yeah. They shot that airplane down, folks, on purpose. As we're a month to 9/11. Remember that, folks. They're freaking lying to y'all because they don't want to tell you the truth. They never do. Do you know why? Because they think they're God. They just can shoot down an airplane and say, hey, okay, they're going down. And that's what they're doing. And it's sad. It is so sad right now, folks. And that's the reason I came online. I seen something. I smelt a rat, a big rat. And what I see right now is they don't want you to fly. They don't want you to travel. They don't want you to get on the beaches. They don't want you to do anything but sit in your side of your house because of Wormwood coming. Everything is set up, folks. And next thing, it would not surprise me if we have another train wreck. And, it's always planes and automobiles and trains every time. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. They're trying to hide something from y'all. And if you don't see what's going on, they're shooting people. You can't even go to the movies no more. You can't go eat. You can't do anything. And this is what I'm going to tell you right now, folks. They're controlling you, and they're going to keep on controlling you until you start fighting back. And that's what I see what's going on. And when they shut down the whole internet, you're going to know that Wormwood is getting closer. And all I got to say is, amen to that. Because I'm sick and tired of these Illuminati New World Order piece of shits.
The concern always is a terrorist managed to get their hands on an airplane and doing really damage with it and really killing a lot of people.
It'd be important to point out here that this was not a hijacked plane. It was a stolen plane, nobody else on board, but obviously there was concern. We've got an airplane that's 100 feet and change,
Right.
and somebody apparently doesn't know how to put it down.
Did he just say nobody was on it? Yes, they were people on it. They're lying again. What a punk.
Where it ends up, I mean,
Right.
very concerning.
Okay. We do want to get to. Okay. You know what? We're going to get to Drew Mickelson, who I believe is at the scene and ready to go. So let's check in with Drew right now. Drew.
I think we're gonna.
Well, Amanda, we're coming to you live from Stillicum. There's a park here overlooking the South Sound. There are quite a few folks out here who saw the plane moments before it went down. There's a mother and daughter here, Chris and Marissa. And Marissa, you were just telling me that you saw this.
Yes.
You saw this plane flying. What?
Yeah.
Why did you notice it?
Well, we heard the booms. We hear booms, all the time from the Air Force Base, JBLM, right over there. So we heard the booms, and we went outside, and we saw this huge commercial airplane flying over, and then there's a couple fighter jets chasing it. So we were like, oh man, what's going on? And then I started seeing tweets. There was a situation happening at SeaTac, so it's like, oh, this is stuff. And so we were just kind of watching it, and then we went back inside and we saw it just do a straight nosedive straight down, and then after that
Thanks for the likes, everyone, but I think we Americans needs to fight, because I'm telling you, for what's coming to y'all, for not fighting, it's going to get really, really bad very soon. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, they've got military, I just found this out as this is going on. They got military waiting on the protest to start Sunday. This is going to start Sunday, folks. And then you got Charlottesville is this weekend. I want to be honest with you. Be careful, because the military is up on the roofs ready to shoot to kill. I just thought you would want to know that. This time it could be more deadlier than usual. Just think about it. It was a year ago.
heard a crash a few minutes later.
And you told me you saw it do a flip?
Yeah, it did. Like, when it went nose dive down, it came right back up. Yeah, it was
I mean, almost like a stunt
like a stunt.
plane.
Yeah.
And we just had the Blue Angels here. You guys had probably had air shows off the beach here before.
Right.
Did you think that's what this was?
No, it was too big of an air. It was shocking to see. Like, my reaction was, because it was a big airplane.
You took a picture of that, and I'll have you send that to us a little bit later. But it was very obvious. This was a propeller, a double propeller.
Oh yeah, definitely at least like a passenger plane for sure.
And could you see? Supposedly it was a Horizon Airline
I
plane.
couldn't see the logo, but I mean, it resembles those types of airplanes. So
You live here in Silicon?
yes,
So what was that like to know that a plane?
crazy, scary. I mean, you're worried about where it's gonna crash, where it crashed. We got in the car, we were like, I hope it crashed in the water. But not in town, not on someone.
Did you see jets following it?
Yes.
I mean, right on top of them, right behind them.
Right behind, chasing circles around him for a couple minutes, 10 minutes or so.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Chris. I'll ask you the same thing. You were out here with your daughter. What was that like to see?
Oh, like she said at first, we thought maybe it was something from the fort, or maybe they were doing a drill. But when we saw it do that dive and then come back up, and she started reading Twitter, and we realized, oh my God, it's like a situation. And it was frightening. I mean, just
Any doubt that it didn't crash? I mean, that's what we've heard.
No.
Did you hear a crash?
Yeah, we came outside the last time it passed over, and we were all outside standing there, going, what's happening, and then we heard this just thud, mechanical crash. Not an explosion, just a very loud.
And then it got quiet at that point.
Yeah, and then we saw the fighter jets just circling over, so we had figured it crashed.
What did you think? I mean, we still don't really know. We've heard that an employee from SeaTac got this plane, but what did you think, or what are you thinking now?
I don't know. I hope he didn't hurt anybody. There's been rumors out on Twitter that he was suicidal or whatever, but yeah, I don't know, just frightening.
Okay, thank you, Chris, for sharing. So it's a little dark out here, I'll admit, but out here is the Silicon Ferry dock. It mainly serves Anderson Island and the McNeil Island, where the state has the Special Commitment Center. As we pulled up, saw several, I would say a dozen cars with flashing lights on board a state ferry heading out towards Ketron Island, which is just barely off the coast here. If you've been out here, Anderson Island and McNeil, it's a good 20-30 minute ferry ride. Ketron is much closer, so I'm not sure if you can see, but there are a couple of helicopters in the air above the island. Obviously, that's where the focus of this investigation is right now. We're going to see who else we can chat with out here, but for now, we'll send it back to you in Seattle.
All right, Drew Mickelson in Steilacoom tonight. Again, that is just due east, if you will, from Ketron Island, with that short ferry right there. And Ketron, to put it in perspective, Steilacoom, just to the north of that, you have Fox Island and then Gig Harbor. And again, we talked about the response. Coast Guard is on scene. We believe Pierce County is on scene. I know Gig Harbor's on scene and a few others. There aren't a lot of response boats readily available right down there. A couple on the Tacoma side, some of the Gig Harbor side, and everybody. This would have been a call for, I would imagine, everybody to get down here right away.
Right. This would have been an all-hands call. I don't think there's any question about it. You can look here. There was some discussion, was this airplane running out of fuel? I think it's fair to say from the smoke plume that we saw, from the level of fire we're seeing in the woods from the helicopter now, I would say unlikely. That seems to be a fair amount, and that's going to be the majority of the smoke that you're going to see. So that's one of the observations. Again, we're going with the best information we can based on the amount of information that we have. So we're trying to sort of couch a lot of this right now for obvious reasons, but it is still going. Obviously, things are also very dry out there, so that's not a particularly good time for the folks on Ketron Island to have an airplane with even some fuel on board end up crashing into the forest.
Right. Okay, let's get to Denny, who's been very patient on the phone. I know, Denny, you saw everything happen, so just walk us through where you were and what you saw.
Well, the first part that I saw was the fighter jet that was heading north, and I thought for a second, it's a little odd, but maybe they're doing some exercise at JBLM, and I didn't think anything of it. Went back to work. I was working outside at the time, and the next thing I know, roughly about 20-25 minutes later, I see what appeared to be a commercial plane, and I had actually worked for Horizon Air many years ago. And I looked at it, thought, okay, that's a Dash 8, but he's banking really hard. I doubt that's probably a Dash 8. Until I saw a fighter jet behind him. And then as they banked around, I could look up in the sky, see another fighter jet that was up even higher than that. But as the plane banked around, it leveled out, started headed towards Steilacoom and Anderson Island. Started to descend, and as it started to descend, it appeared that there was a slight puff of smoke coming out of the engine, but nothing that would make anybody go, "Oh my gosh, it's going to crash" or something. But it caught my attention long enough to watch the entire thing, and that was the last I saw of the plane as it descended towards Steilacoom. But I watched the fighter jets as they circled around, and thought that was really, really strange, because the Dash 8 is not meant to bank the way that it banked. It was almost at a 90-degree angle.
Right. We've been hearing these stories that it sounds like this pilot was almost trying to do acrobatics or trying to do some, aerials of some kind. It sounds like that's sort of what you saw.
Yeah, I mean, not so much acrobatics, just it appeared, if you will, like a chase in the sky, like you would see a car chase on the ground. This plane banking hard to try and get away from a jet fighter, which is kind of foolish. But it didn't appear that the fighters, made any kind of a attack towards the plane. Just simply were taking cover and watching, the plane as it went. So I don't think that the plane was shot down. I didn't see anything that would lead me to believe that it was. So.
Well, if you just join me, he's lying, or maybe he don't know the truth. But my advisors are telling me that he did get shot down, and there were people on it. I don't know where people are saying there's nobody on that airplane, and that island. Believe it or not, they actually made a couple of movies on that island. There's not that many people on that island. I will tell you that much. Only like 11 to 12 houses on the island. And then there's nothing but, forest out there. So that's a good sign. But the bad sign is there's people on that airplane, folks. It just came from an airport. And it was heading toward Alaska. This is Alaska airplane, folks. And this is looking like 9/11 all over again. They shot that airplane down just like they did in Pittsburgh. I thought I might let you know a little bit about it if y'all just joined. So thanks for joining, and thanks for the likes and share. Everybody needs to know what's going on. Our government sucks.
When you saw it at 90 degrees, you said that was really unusual. We've had several people who are kind enough to send in their cell phone pictures and other things. We have one up right now. Folks saw it doing everything from what you described, being flat and level. Everybody saw the two F-15s. Those weren't picked up in these particular pictures, but they were pretty well focused on the airplane. Kind of, what did you think? I mean, when you see, is that like whoa or what? Particularly when we see the F-15 in one of these shots, what were you thinking when you were noticing that, especially over at the sort of angle that you had?
Yeah, it was a whoa. And actually, the picture you got right there was almost exactly what I saw. The fighter jet off to the side of the Dash 8, and then the Dash 8 making that hard bank. And I thought, okay, that's Dash 8. And then I thought, no way. Horizon would never fly with passengers on board like that, banking that plane that speed. And that's, when I saw the fighter jet, I was like, wow, okay, this is crazy. Something's not right. And so my first thought was, somebody did something, somebody screwed up, and they scrambled fighter jets to go after this plane. And that was my first thought when I saw the fighter jet. So.
Yeah, well, there's going to be a lot more that comes out on this. Is there? You ever think you'd see something like this?
No, not like this, and not this close to home. I mean, literally this plane flew over my house.
Wow.
And I was in shock. I was like, oh, wow, okay.
And that is what I've been hearing from people tonight as well. It sounds like a lot of people down in that area watched it fly right over their homes and are still trying to come to grips with what just happened. I mean, I must have had 40 texts tonight from people going, what's going on? What's going on?
Well, the odd part is post 9/11, with a plane being stolen from an airport such as SeaTac, I mean, it's hard to fathom. Very hard to fathom.
And then a month, we're only a month away from 9/11. Do you not see the signs, everyone? They're telling you what's about to happen. They're showing you, look what happened 17 years ago. They're showing you that they control the world. I'm going to be honest with you right now. Whoever was on that airplane, I'm going to bet you it was somebody that was controlled, or if you've forgotten, what they've been making out there is robots. Probably got a robot on that airplane to teach it how to drive. If you're not noticed, they've been doing that a lot lately in other countries, even in Russia and China. I would not be surprised if this was a test run with a robot for another, I don't know, maybe another suicide deal. But like I said, there were people on that airplane. I'm getting confirmation there might have been 120 people on that airplane. So just thought you might want to know that.
It is. It's hard to fathom. Denny, we really appreciate your time. Thank you so much, and your perspective as well.
Absolutely.
All right, I know we're going to maybe my producer will, and we're going to have a live news conference. We're trying to figure out who is holding that news conference. Don't know whether it'll be Alaska Airlines, but we'll get updated information for you momentarily. We talked about how slow that was flying. How slow can that 15 fly comfortably? It seems like that would be hard to stay behind a Q400.
Well, it depends on how fast the Q400 was going. Obviously, there's abilities there. I do not know off the top of my head what the stall speed is of an F-15, much less the Q400. Obviously, they were both going fast enough to stay in the air. That didn't really seem to be the issue. One of the questions I had was there any sort of radio contact between the Q400, whoever was flying it, this mechanic as it was been described to us, and anybody else. Let me talk about something that we really haven't touched on before as we sort of wait for this press conference to get going. The one thing we haven't really covered. You're talking about somebody who has taken an airplane. I flew on one of these even earlier this year. This is a turboprop. It is, however, not a small airplane. Okay, I think we're going to go to that press conference now. I'm told in my ear.
Yep.
Here we go.
Let's listen in.
Island. It's a small island off of Steilacoom here. There aren't that many people who live there. There are probably about 20 who live year-round. Apparently, the plane was taken from SeaTac Airport. Our information now is there was only one person on the plane, and that was the person flying the plane. I understand the person may have been doing some air stunts and whatever. I know that some aircraft were scrambled from the Air Force Base. There is no indication that this person who was flying the plane was trying to damage anything or attack anything. That person crashed into the island. There was a fire that followed. There are about 3 West Pierce fire units, pupper units. They're going over there by ferry. They should be arriving just about now, as well as some command units and some Sheriff's Department units. Our boat, the Mundell, made it over there quickly because it's a rapid response boat. So we believe there are no further casualties than one person.
Man, you remind me of Sheriff Lobo. The guy just reminds me of Sheriff Lobo. If you don't know who that is, that was the Las Vegas shooting sheriff that was working the scene that day. I don't know how to explain this, guys. They're corrupt. They're corrupt. And if you remember the video that I just did just the other day about 9/11, what was it 8/8/18? I did 2 videos on Donald Trump. This is happening on his time and him as the president. George W. Bush and Trump both are in the same deal. And remember, Alice Crawley is the family of the Bushes, and the highest elite of them all is none other than Donald Trump. That's all I got to say. Case closed. I thought y'all enjoyed this. I don't know if y'all really like this or not. If you do, keep on liking, subscribing. If anything else breaks in, I promise you, I'm going to get there first before anybody. We shut down Alex Jones, and we're going to shut down Dabo 777 for lying, and we're going to shut down the others. Paul Begley, he's a piece of crap, and so is what's his name, BP Earthwatch. All work for the deep state. Y'all have a nice day. I'm out for the night. I thought y'all might want to know what was going on. It's just another circus, another lie, just like they did in 9/11. Y'all have a nice day. God bless, and thanks for the likes, and thanks for the views. Be safe.